Yes, hi, welcome. My name is David Suella. I am a travel agent for AAA Northway in Saratoga Springs and in Half Moon. I am also our host for our select vacations tours that we have throughout the year. I think there's really something to be said about group travel, bringing together like-minded travelers who are all looking to experience bucket list destinations. My favorite travel destination to date is when I hosted our Iceland vacation last November. This year, we've put together a bunch of great hosted vacations. I will be hosting the Music Cities Tour October 8th through October 15th. I hope you join me. We've combined a great itinerary that's going to include, must-see experiences. For example, visiting Elvis's home, Graceland, and visiting the Grand Ole Opry. And there's also a perfect amount of free time. I'd like to introduce now Kevin Ferguson, our AAA Member Choice Vacations representative, who will go into more detail on the tour. I hope you join me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, David. Really appreciate it. And remember, all of our travel consultants, whether you're up in Plattsburgh, over in Binghamton, or in the capital region at the Schenectady, Amsterdam, Saratoga Springs, Half Moon office, Queensbury, we are here for you. So again, 877-222-8283 or AAA.com/appointment. So our trip today that we're going to be talking about, an amazing journey that David already alluded to, October 8th to October 15th, America's Music Cities, Nashville, Memphis, Nolans, and everything else in between here. My name is Kevin Ferguson. As David alluded to, I am the business development manager for all of upstate New York for AAA Member Choice Vacations. Have been proudly working for the company for about 16 years now, both as a tour manager out on the road in the thick of it all, as well as on our sales force. Home base for me is Syracuse, and people have been asking me specifically over the last couple of years, when's the best time to travel here? Or when's the best time to travel there? And trust me, after the last 3 years of missed memories and opportunities, the best time to travel is while you can. Now, the company that I work for here, AAA Member Choice Vacations, was just voted this past December as the Guided Tour Partner of the Year for the 5th consecutive year. And that's huge because, again, knowing that you're traveling with class and a quality tour operator is more important than ever. And furthermore, knowing that we have also received the inaugural Agent's Choice Award, which was given to just one supplier, either tour or cruise, on behalf of all frontline travel professionals throughout AAA in the United States. That is huge. So again, having that support is another reason why you should travel with us. Being a AAA member, there's going to be an additional benefit here for you. So if you didn't need to use towing or some of the other different services that AAA Northway already provides, well, we have a little extra savings here for you. Now, today, of course, we're going to be talking about this amazing journey featuring the jazz, blues, and country here, but I do need to address that elephant in the room. Thanks, Google. Never thought I'd actually find a photo of an elephant in the room, but you can find everything on the internet these days. When it comes to the pandemic, we all took a hard stop right around Friday the 13th, March of 2020. We realized during that time that us here at AAA Member Choice Vacations needs to be able to operate in an environment where the pandemic exists. We were the first to return to the road back in July of 2020 after implementing on-tour safety wellness protocols and other measures to help mitigate. We returned to the road and guided 40 tours throughout 2020. Music Cities that you were seeing right here today was one of those inaugural tours in 2020. And with the vaccine rollout, 28 countries by the end of 2021. And by the end of 2022, we've returned to 98% of where we were pre-pandemic. Only places we are not going to are Russia and China. And no, I wouldn't want to go there right now either. Here's what I tell you, though. Knowing that your financial investment in travel is safe is more important during these unprecedented times. The tour operator on the ground for Member Choice Vacations is Colette, which is the longest running tour operator in North America at over 105 years. Now, here's the thing. During these times when we could not operate a tour, we always gave the option of a full money-back refund. Not a coupon, not a travel credit, not an IOU, not Kohl's Cash, where if you don't use it, you lose it. But knowing that, again, this has been an option is again, showing that financial stability more than anything else. And yes, we even sponsored Wheel of Fortune in January. So if it's good enough for Pat and Vanna, might be good enough for you too as well. Moving forward from January 1 of 2023 onward, we're not going to be asking for people to divulge vaccination status. And that is important to note here on this domestic tour. I will, point out that it might unnerve you, but knowing that 92% of our travelers back in early 2021, when we didn't even have a vaccine mandate put in, were fully vaccinated anyways when we polled, was more important just to know that you're traveling with other like-minded individuals. All right, I'm tired about talking about the pandemic, excited about talking about this amazing journey, October 8th to 15th. So what we're going to be doing here as well, first of all, is we are going to be making our way from the AAA Half Moon office there in Clifton Park down to Albany Airport. There'll be a place that you'll be able to leave your cars there safe and sound. And then we'll go from Albany to New Orleans, most likely because we don't have any direct flights from anywhere, it feels like, in the capital region. We are going to go through a center of the country hub airport and then down to New Orleans, 3-night stay to begin with. Then we'll go by motor coach from New Orleans up towards Memphis with a 2-night stay there and then 2 nights in Nashville. We will break up the time on the motor coach there. We don't go longer than about an hour and a half, 2 hours without restroom breaks, stretch breaks, and things like that. Now, questions I usually always get, Kevin, what's the average temperature on this trip? How does this compare? This is a sweet spot period in the calendar. Why? Because we're in the midst of pumpkin spice season. You'll be back in time for fall foliage and its peak in the second half of October. On average, October 8th in Albany, 50 and 64 are the average temperatures here. Now, in New Orleans, where our trip begins, 70 and 80 are the average temperatures there. And in Memphis and in Nashville, roughly about 55 to 70, upwards sometimes to 75 is the average temperatures there. This is perfect traveling weather. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, but like Goldilocks and the Bears, just right. Now, you'll also see those arrows next to New Orleans. That stands for a choice on tour. So if you want to do one thing and your traveling companion wants to do the other, great, go back, compare notes. You're not paying an extra dime for doing so. More to come on that. So here's where our trip begins in New Orleans, Louisiana, the jazz capital of the world. Another nickname for New Orleans is the Crescent City, which is in reference to the Mississippi River that traverses through the town. Now, this city has persevered through wars and floods, has a combination of lineages like the French, the Spanish, the Creole, Caribbean, and Cajun. That is the term that was named for the Acadians that came from New Brunswick and Nova Scotia regions back a couple hundred years ago as well. So you're going to get a little bit of the Paul Harvey experience, the rest of the story when you travel and explore these different cities here. Now, it's your choice. So you can do one thing, your traveling companion can do the other. Great, go back, compare notes. You're not paying an extra dime for doing so. One will be a walking tour through the French Quarter. We'll be seeing this with a local guide, seeing the majestic St. Louis Cathedral that you see right here. There's Jackson Square with Andrew Jackson on that horse, continuing through the bustling French marketplace, exploring Pirates Alley, the neighboring Cabildo, the Presbytere, the Pontalba buildings that are also on this picture right here, and many other smaller nooks and crannies that make up the French Quarter. Or we will be doing a panoramic tour here. You'll be going by motor coach here with a local guide. Of course, you'll be covering through more territory being on a motor coach here. Some of the spots that we'll see include the historic Esplanade Avenue here, as well as St. Charles Avenue, where we'll be whisking past some of these gorgeous mansions, as well as Tulane and Loyola universities, and St. Louis Cemetery number 3. Which opened back in 1854, has some of the most elaborate crypts here in North America found within these cemetery walls. Remember here, the sea level is only about 4 feet above sea level. So again, this is why everything was kind of built up and there are no underground graves there. More to come. Anyways, here's where our journey begins. We have a jazz afternoon here on the Mississippi itself. And so we're going to have a jazz brunch. This is an optional tour. It's done during free time. You're not losing out on anything in, by doing this here, but starting by relaxing, enjoying live jazz music, soaking in the centuries old atmosphere, and the largest courtyard in the French Quarter here at the Court of Two Sisters, which is a famous restaurant with a brunch buffet with over 60 items available, made to order omelets, eggs Benedicts, and more. After lunch, we'll be embarking on a leisurely cruise on the steamboat Natchez. This is an iconic symbol here of New Orleans. The ambiance will transport us back to the time of the 19th century where steamboats were the main mode of transportation, I should say, along the Mississippi. Sitting back, taking in the surroundings on a narrated harbor tour, listening to the stories of days gone by as we go along and pedal along the way on this paddle boat wheel here. Just again, sitting back, and of course, I told you this is a jazz afternoon. There's going to be a jazz band on board here taking stage for some toe tapping fun as well. From start to end, with lunch included at Court of Two Sisters, about 4.5 hours, and it goes for $90 per person on this. Now, being a AAA member, there's another benefit that for pre-sold options is that if you pre-sign up for this, there's one optional tour per trip that has this offer. It is $50 off for being a AAA member. So that $90 per person rate now down to $40 for that. So again, thank you for your membership and your loyalty to AAA. Now tonight we're going to get to know our fellow traveling companions at a New Orleans style welcome dinner here. Our next day, we're going to journey through Louisiana's swamp on a cruise narrated by a local captain outside of the city in the famous Louisiana Bayou. This has an amazing swamp floating experience that we're going to be on, and with the moss-covered cypress trees, the birds, the wildlife, there's a little bit of everything for everyone. We're going to be able to explore Cajun country, territory of fishermen, alligator hunters, fur trappers, and more. And we'll be learning about, again, the history, the ecology of this fascinating ecosystem while keeping an eye out for wildlife, including bald eagle, herons, turtles, alligators, and more. There's me, yours truly, right there in New Orleans, out on the bayou. And yes, you'll even have the opportunity to hold one of those babies in case there as well. All right, we won't have you hold the big ones because, again, you don't want to put yourself in that liability issue. Your friends that are not going on this trip already are looking at your Facebook and your social media, or maybe pictures that you're sending back, and they're going, oh, you're looking like you're having a really good time. And that's the reason why you're traveling, to go explore, see the world, get busy living, my friends. Here, our next thing is we're going to do is make our way to Mardi Gras World. We're going to celebrate the festive side of New Orleans here. We'll be at a working warehouse where artisans are creating these spectacular floats for the famous parades, and going behind the scenes, seeing how Mardi Gras come to life, having an understanding of the history and an overview of, again, where the artists work year round to build these spectacular floats and props. We'll even get into indulging a little taste of King's Cake. Now, King's Cake is eaten on King's Day, which is January the 6th, as well as the Tuesday before Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday. Usually created with, it's a brioche base, like a bundt cake form. And according to tradition, a small plastic baby is baked into the cake, and whoever receives a slice of cake with the baby in it is required to host the next party. Now, did you know that the colors that we see here are actually with different meanings? So the gold is the power, green is the faith, and purple means the justice. Now tonight, enjoying dinner on our own before meeting with our tour manager and fellow companions at Maison Bourbon. Now, here, having this evening with the live jazz club in the French Quarter, listening to world's famous sounds that have emanated from New Orleans, such as Louis Armstrong, Harry Connick Jr., and others. This is where they were born, where they got their start and their upbringing here. I took this photo being there back in April of a few years back. And yes, don't be surprised walking down the street that you see street buskers out and playing their tunes and just so much more. Now, if jazz wasn't for you, but you want to get into a different genre, this trip has it. We're now going to get into the blues country here, traveling north to Memphis, the birthplace of blues, rock and roll, and soul. Aretha Franklin, as well as Justin Timberlake, were born here in Memphis, got their starts here in the city. Mississippi River also cuts through this famous city, just like New Orleans. Also boasts savory barbecue, incomparable music, and again, a history rooted in music legends. Now, we'll enjoy Southern hospitality at our hotel just steps away from iconic Graceland here. Now, the hotel located right on the property of the Presley property, this guest house inspired by Elvis himself. The hotel was designed under the supervision of Priscilla Presley and just exudes this welcoming Southern hospitality that Elvis was known for. We're going to have a choice of how we want to explore and enjoy the city of Memphis. So you have a choice here as well, either going and touring Graceland and walking the estate, getting to experience the stately mansion of the king himself, touring this 14-acre site where, again, he purchased this property in 1957, spent 2 decades here before his passing in 1977 as well. This is, again, a stone's throw away from our hotel. Or we will have the opportunity to embark on a civil rights tour, following the route of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s last march by coach, stopping at Mason Temple, where he gave his famous "I've Been to the Mountaintop" speech, as well as continuing to trace the African-American experience across time as we visit the Slave Haven Underground Railroad Museum, which is an antebellum home that harbored courageous runaway slaves in the search of freedom. And we'll come full circle as we end our tour with a visit to the renowned National Civil Rights Museum there in Memphis. So you can do one thing, your traveling companion can do the other. Great, go back, compare notes. You're not paying an extra dime for doing so. We will all come together here, have free time on our own on Beale Street for lunch before hopping back on the coach with some local musicians who explain why Memphis embraces its title as the home of the blues. Now, you'll be tempted to sing along as they tell stories of musical heritage throughout the city of Memphis, again, the former home of Elvis Presley, as well as where other musicians got their start, as I mentioned earlier, but also including Mr. B.B. King himself. The remainder of our day is going to be free to enjoy the city's vast musical offerings on our own, whether it's going to be dancing to the live music that fills the open air or spending an evening exploring Beale Street, vibrant musical clubs, you've got it. There will be an optional tour this evening in Memphis, which includes dinner. This is the Memphis Musical History Tour with dinner. It goes for $99 per person. Again, with a visit to Sun Studio, perhaps one of the most famous recording studios in the world. A guided tour will introduce us to the location that began the careers of such musical legends like Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, Elvis, of course, B.B. King, and others. And it was here in Sun Studio where Elvis in 1954 began his recording commercially. From here, we will see the Rock and Roll Museum, the Rock and Soul Museum, located on famous Beale Street. We'll explore that museum at our own pace with a self-guided audio tour, highlighting the musical journey here of Memphis, as well as popping next door to the Memphis Music Hall of Fame, seeing rare memorabilia, video performances and interviews, amongst others, and completing our tour with dinner at a local restaurant that evening. Again, this is going on during free time, so you're not missing out in anything of lieu of doing this here as well. This trip already is like a big fat piece of chocolate cake. These are just the extra sprinkles and frosting to enhance it that much more. From here, our next day will roll along the music highway to the music capital of the world, Nashville. Now, this city here itself features the dynamic modern food scene, friendly natives, just moved here locals, and more. It is also serves as the capital of Tennessee, the starting point of many of the country's greatest artists here. And along the way, we'll stop at the West Delta Heritage Center, where we'll revel in a true Southern experience that celebrates music, history, and beauty of the Tennessee Delta. We'll discover the roots of country blues sounds that originated here in West Tennessee. And yes, the Queen of Rock, Tina Turner, was born here in Brownsville, Tennessee, so it's only fitting that there is an exhibit dedicated to her. We'll arrive in Nashville, tour the historic Ryman Auditorium, which was the original home to the Grand Ole Opry. It looks like a church, well, because it was a church. It was the mother church of country music, also nicknamed the Carnegie Hall of the South or the Soul of Nashville here. It's where a local radio broadcast started airing once a week in 1925, and the rest is history. It's a 2,000 plus seat venue here in the heart of Nashville. and again named after its founder here, a riverboat owner, Ryman. It was the Union Gospel Tabernacle where it first started. But also, fast forward with the Grand Ole Opry, it's beginning in 25. It was also where Patsy Cline became a member of the Opry here at the Ryman in 1960. Earl Scruggs, Hank Williams, others, June Carter, and Johnny Cash, of course. That's where they first met, and more. This is a real tribute to American music and history here as well. This evening, we're going to take our reserve seat at the renowned Grand Ole Opry. And our next day here, I want to point, I should say, next day where we're going to be staying here is at the Gaylord Opryland Resort. It's where you want to be. Stone's throw away from the Gaylord Opry itself, and or the Grand Ole Opry itself. This is a place where it basically has its own zip code because it's a massive, hotel with lots of places to stroll, see, and be seen, and just a fabulous location there. We will start our day in Nashville with the Country Music Hall of Fame, the world's largest museum of popular music, recounting the history of country music from its pre-commercial roots to its modern times. And this story is told through visual exhibits, photography, and recorded songs. We'll check out the museum's vast display of memorabilia, costumes, recordings, and instruments artfully presented here in these cutting-edge exhibits, relaying the colorful past of country music and its artists. And from here, we're going to tour RCA Studio B, giving us an insider's look at Nashville's oldest remaining recording studio. Built back in the late 1950s, RCA Studio B quickly becoming the home of the Nashville sound. Hitmakers such as Dolly Parton, Chet Atkins, Willie Nelson, just to name a few. And this studio also hosted the great Elvis Presley and Charley Pride. Now, today, the studio functions as a cultural attraction for visitors and a classroom for local students learning about sound and recording technology. And what a great place to do that learning right here in this place of history. We'll learn how each recording artist recorded their topping hit in this studio, and you may even have the opportunity to record your own as well. From here, we'll test our culinary skills with a hands-on chocolate lesson here at the iconic Goo Goo Candy Shop, which are known for its Goo Goo clusters. And then tonight, we'll celebrate at a farewell dinner. Your friends that don't go on this trip are going to ask you a simple 3-word question. How was it? You're going to give them a simple yet profound 3-word answer back. You missed out on a trip of a lifetime. Again, your days and nights spent experiencing the flavor, music, and excitement of these cities comes to an end here in Nashville. But again, Memphis and New Orleans has so much into it here as well in this captivating journey that you'll have these memories that will last a lifetime. We'll again do a hometown pickup here for us in the capital region. So again, for those up in Plattsburgh or in the southern tier at the near the Vestal or Binghamton area here, make your way up towards Albany here and get a place where you're going to have your vehicle safe and secure at the AAA Half Moon office there in Clifton Park, and we will take care of the rest with this hometown pickup. Now, if you are already out of town, or you're a snowbird, or you have a family member that lives in another part of the country, great, fantastic. We can fly them out of their local airport here, have them join us on this amazing journey down in New Orleans as well. So again, I just want to confine that this is not just confined to the upstate and capital region on this. Again, with some of those different experiences, those optional tours here, we have those personalizations right there. And of course, our industry-leading cancel for any reason insurance with this no worries travel protection, literally to the day prior if you have to cancel, sick cat, bad hair day, bad hair life, whatever the reason, full 100% back refund. Not a coupon, not a travel credit, not an IOU. And while on tour, you're also being taken care of as well. It really is the kind of peace of mind that you can't put a price tag on. And so knowing that up until April the 8th, if you have to cancel for any reason, you're going to also get the insurance refunded back to you. So you're not out 1 cent. Now, from the 9th to the day prior in October, you get everything back minus the cost of the insurance. But that's, again, why you have insurance. When you come back from this trip, we're going to have $100 to $150 off your next trip as a way of saying thanks. So instead of a toothbrush holder or a tote bag, we want to give you a little bit of extra value add towards where next on your travel to-do list. We may have heard back in 2022 and during pre-pandemic times about the Real ID. That was supposed to be implemented here in May of 2023. Now that has been backed up another couple years to May of 2025. So you do not need to get your passport or your driver's license updated just yet if you need to. But note that you do have time to fly domestically with just your driver's license. Now, to find out more, you can go right to our trip dedicated webpage, which is at gateway.memberchoicevacations.com/link/1089321. I'll have that number for you at the end. That QR code is going to actually bring us right up here to that sign up now button that I'm arrowing to you, but that web page is what we're seeing right here. Over to the top right, there's that option to email to a friend. So if you want to give more information, you can pass it along that way here. And of course, the contact information for our AAA Northway offices, email and phone number are listed above. If you scroll down, you'll even have your travel tips, find out more, know before you go info. But that sign up now button that I am pointing out to you, you could even do this from the convenience of your own home. And what I always suggest is once you're done there, you can just notify your travel advisor that you're working at here at any of our AAA Northway offices that you have made your registration on it. They're going to be notified anyways, but it's always just great to just give them that heads up here. It's very turnkey. You can put in any dietary restrictions. If you have any mobility challenges, just let us know. The more that we know, the better your experience will be. Booking early and save, well, we've got it right here. The early bird really does get the travel worm. We'll have an additional $50 off, and that's going to be reflected in the price that we're seeing right here. So don't wait until April the 7th to make up your mind. Remember, because again, you can, if you have to cancel prior to the 8th, you'll even get that insurance out and more. Here's a breakdown on everything. The deposit is $600. At the time of deposit is when the insurance is due, which is $299, making your deposit with insurance $899 per person. Deposits are due April 8th, fully refundable till the 8th. Final payment will be due at the end of July 26th. Again, this includes your round trip air from Albany, including that round trip transfer from AAA Half Moon in Clifton Park down to Albany, your round trip air, your air taxis, your airport to hotel transfers in Nashville, as well as New Orleans, respectively, as well as our hotels, your porterage, 10 meals included on this here as well. Only thing that are not going to be included, any tips to the driver, guide, local guides, any type of retail therapy that you may partake in, which is what I call shopping, and of course, your domestic airline baggage fee, which is roughly about $35. Now, $34.99 per person double, including that $299 insurance. That makes it $37.98 respectively. If you're a solo traveler, it's for $43.99 on this. With the insurance, $46.98. If you go in as a solo traveler and you find a roommate, we'll adjust the rate accordingly there. Just let your travel advisor know if you're looking for a potential roommate, because we want to help you out on that if we can. I never quote Facebook, but I will right now. You know your voice in that head, and you know that voice in your head that's telling you to travel? Simply put, my friends, listen to it. In 10 years from now, you'll be really glad that you did. So what are you waiting for? The best time to travel is while you can. Again, reach out to any of our AAA Northway travel advisors, like David, as you mentioned earlier, or others here from Amsterdam, Plattsburgh, Schenectady, Saratoga, Clifton Park, Queensbury, or Vestal offices. We're here for you, 877-222-8283 or AAA.com/appointment. Again, October 8th to October 15th. The opportunity is there for you to seize the day with Memphis, Nashville, and New Orleans on this amazing trip of a lifetime. On behalf of all of us here at AAA Northway and AAA Member Choice Vacations, thank you very much. Again, that web link listed right below, gateway.memberchoicevacations.com/link/1089321. We look forward to having you on this amazing trip in mid-October.